Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Oftentimes when we think about the story of David, we typically think about the fact that David had a lot of enemies. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that the Psalms are inundated with Psalms about David's struggles against his enemies, where David is speaking against his enemies, the Psalms where he's asking the Lord for help in regard to his enemies. And then also the story itself, as we read about King Saul, who rose up against David. We have Absalom, who his very own son is rising up against him. Ahithophel, who was a good friend of his, basically stabs him in the back and begins to follow after Absalom. Certainly, David did have a lot of enemies, and there were a lot of times that people came up against him. But we must not forget that David also had a lot of friends. And of course, the ultimate credit of how David was delivered so many times goes to God. And David himself would ultimately give the credit to God for the many times that he was saved from what looked like sure death. We also have to recognize that he had a lot of friends that were helping him along the way, and that the Lord used these individuals to bring David out of very precarious situations. We could think of Michal, his wife, who was Saul's daughter, who helped him hide from Saul's men. We could think about Jonathan, who was a good friend of David and definitely helped him as they entered into a covenant with one another. And Jonathan gave him a heads up that Saul was definitely out to get David, and David was able to escape. We could also think about Ahimelech, the priest, who gave David of the consecrated bread and also Goliath's sword and assisted him in that way. And we could think about, even in our reading today, Hushai, who was a good friend of David, that's going to be instrumental in helping David overcome this insurrection led by Absalom. And so we see that, yes, David had a lot of enemies, but he also had a lot of friends. And those friends were instrumental in helping him overcome his enemies and be able to survive, even though he had a lot of people who were seeking after his life. And so what this teaches us is that friends are important, and it's important for us to get along with people because we never know when we're going to need them. We never know when that person that we were kind to, that we showed love towards, might actually be the very person who gets us out of a predicament. And so it's important for us to make friends with people and get along with people on a day-to-day basis. And I would say even people who are maybe considered antagonistic against us, or people that maybe we don't agree with theologically or politically or things like that. It's important for us to get along with people, as we're told in the book of Romans, to be at peace with all men, and as far as we are able, and to be able to get along with people, to care for people, even if they lash out against us, to return a blessing to them when they try to curse us, to just live a good, honest life, and a life that cares for other people. That's the type of life that David lived, and it helped him in those hard times. And so let's be a friend to people today. Let's not only make friends, but be a friend to others. Be kind to people, even to people who might be hostile against us, and just really show love and show the love of God in our lives. And we never know when that will return back to us in a favorable way, as it did with David. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.